What up, what up, what up? Bankroll 10 bettered up. Here we have Mr. Ballin' on a budget. His Landau, however you guys want to say it. With the fat lips on the back. It's measured on the tape measure 9.5 on the lip. So I guess it's considered a 9-inch. But it looks deep as hell. Deep as hell. 26 by 12, 13 inches overall. All right, so here's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna adjust the rear end, line it up, squat it a little more, change the rear springs, change the front springs. That contrast of the black spring, because we got the silver springs on it, but the fronts may be a 450 spring, which it needs a 550. Wheels sticking out a little bit, upper control arms line from the frame. We're going to change the ball joints to the longer shank style, longer shaft, 1 inch longer. It's going to give me more adjustability on the custom alignment to bring that wheel back. Excuse me. This is a big tire car. The back, I do believe, is a 295, or no, a 305 30, 305 30 26. So it's a big tire. I guess same as the Cutlass right here. It's a 305/30, but this is by 11, so 12 overall. So this one stays more square. That one's pulled, stretched on. But we're gonna change the anti-roll in the back from the 3/8 one to the 1/2 inch. We already got the anti-roll here. We're waiting on the springs. We have the ball joints here. I'm gonna take the rubber stop off the upper control arm, and I'm gonna trim the stop plate on the frame just a little bit. The anti-roll underneath, when I get up in there, I can show you. It's got the 1/2 inch tabs, and it's an undermount anti-roll. It's got the 3/8 tabs on the frame side, like where the muffler hangers go. And it's welded on, bolted on, and powder coated, so I'm gonna have to cut just the tabs off, clean it up right there, and put the 1/2 inch tabs up there, weld them on, and then clean it up and touch it up with a little bit of silver spray paint, because the frame is powder coated like it's silver. So a high temp engine, silver, or something like that, it'd be fine. The front, same thing, I cut that plate off the top. But yeah, I had a wrinkle right there, but it wasn't from the work that was done. I guess one of the car shops had it, and that was on dollies, and somebody pushed right on that area. But anyways, you know, this is 75, same way. The blue one, it had a wrinkle in it before the work was begun on it. So you see, it's a 85 and under Landau, because of the taillights and because of the chrome. And I didn't know anything about that chrome having that notch in it for the newer mirrors for 86 and 87 until watching Mr. 75's video over there at 815. But yeah, and I had an 84 a couple years after starting to bet it up. I had an 84 that I got real cheap. The rockers were rusty, the bottoms of the doors are rusty. This was a long time ago. I didn't like the trim. I didn't know nothing about the trim. I took all the trim off, and I threw it in the scrap. Many years ago. I started betting up in 06. This was probably 07 when I did that. And I didn't remember a couple years after that and telling Jason 815, I'm like, yeah, no, I threw some of that shit away. He's like, you did what? I didn't know it was worth all that. But anyway, that car was a 84 or 85 Landau, and this fender's wrinkled. He's got tuning fenders in the car with the marker lights. But the car it had real low miles on it, like 30-something thousand miles on the car that I had. And I had it in the back of the shop up on Jack's hands, and I was doing some body work and stuff like that. I had bought rockers and started doing that, and I ended up, just saying, whatever. I posted it. and somebody came out from the city and bought it. So it was like that light brown, dark brown, light brown, I don't know. The interior was immaculate in it, but I got it off of Frank, and I ended up selling it, and I made good money off of it. It ran and drove, had a 305 in it, and it was spinning one tire like it was nothing. It would start up every single time. But anyways, let me get this thing in the air, so I'll just be yapping. Not complaining this time, just yapping. But yeah, that big tire. Clean car. Been through a couple shops for a couple different things, this and that. We've been communicating for a while now. So, look at that, yo. You see what's on in there? The original radio clock is on. Yeah, you can see this side. That tire is onto there. We're seeing the one shock is leaning, and you can see that's weight. Adjust the rear end over, change the anti-roll, take the pig out, reseal it on the 9-inch. But yeah, let me get it up in there. I'll be right back. All right, got it up in the air, checking it all out, going over some other things. This is the lug nut that they had on here. This is not the correct lug nut for the rim. Think about this. Think how deep that hole is, right? This lug nut doesn't have a shoulder on it. Like, this is what you want, y'all. Gotta have that shoulder on it so this fits into the wheel, and the lug nut or the socket fits on there real good. What happens here is this gets into the rim and it tears up the rim, and then it gets to where if you don't have a good socket, you can't get it off. So this is most likely a 7/16, but still need to have that nice shoulder on there, guys. Don't buy these lug nuts from the parts store. Parts store, get them in a box. I'm surprised that this head is a 3/4 head and not a 13/16 head, because I see this all the time, this style with a 13/16 head. And if you don't have lug nut sockets, this is bigger, but if you don't have lug nut sockets, I mean, these kits are everywhere. They're nice kits. You can't get in there and get them off without scratching the outside of the rim with this part of the socket. But lug nut sockets prevent that. Yes, there's a plastic sleeve that's supposed to be over this, but sometimes with the plastic sleeve, it doesn't fit in the fucking rim. All right, so these are D52 calipers, which go on the stock spindle. I didn't know that until, or no, I didn't know that, but whatever, it don't matter. I'm gonna pick it apart. See that brake line? Brake line is not supposed to be under the frame, it's supposed to be over the frame. And the reason I'm saying that is because originally, you know, it goes up here, this one here, being here. They got the steering stops turned out. But why did they go underneath? That puts it right in the way of the tire when the tire does turn. Normally it hits right here. I understand it's in that crevice, but that's just not, you know, you're going down to go back up. That doesn't make sense. All right, no thrust bearings. So see, when you don't have a thrust bearing in there and you start turning it, see that? It starts tearing up the little shim. They do have the shim in there. And it starts tearing it up. And then it's hard as hell to turn the shocks up. Now you guys see the other thing, right? Is I should just invest in a anti-seize type of business, because you guys use way too much anti-seize. You don't need it all the way on the threads. Put the spring in there, set it all up, the shock in there, set it all up, tighten it up just a little bit, get it to where kind of where you want it. Put the ball joint on, then go back through and you can go in there and just put some anti-seize on the top. And once that collar starts going for full adjustment, it drags it into the collar as it goes up. But this, just a mess. No cotter keys on the lower ball joint, no cotter key on the upper ball joint. Just little things noticing, you know, they over tightened the links. Most people do think it needs to be tight like that. Boom, I always got antifreeze leaking, I don't know why. Oh, you can see right there. Oh yeah, so up in there, got these wheels off of this side. This side needed a stud put in it. I just screwed the stud in because I don't know what they were talking about. I screwed it in, but of course I gotta take the caliper off and put the nut on the back of it because they thread in, but they also have the nylon lock nut that goes on the back. So like I said, you had to buy a whole kit to do that. These wheels, I didn't realize, but they had a fat and a thin on both. Each hole. They're all marked. I like how they marked it, whoever. Like this one's blue and it goes to the blue. They put it for a blue mark on the stud. So that's pretty cool. You can see the back brakes never broke in. These are not shimmable. Like, you know, this is a G-body front, but it's like a D52. I know the front's definitely a D52, and this is a D52 style because it goes back on with the pins. So there's no shimming with this. You know, this caliper actually moves. So it's a floating caliper, or the other calipers, the other wheel ones are stationary where the caliper don't move, just the pistons move. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, they threaded that in there. But let me see if I can get straight. See that? So I'm wondering how they got that to go together. Unless it's just loose enough, once you get it out of its threads, that it just moves. But I don't know. And why they put the caliper down towards the front, I don't know. And again, I don't know which shop, this, that, whatever, I don't care. The fuel line, why they tabbed it to the inside, or, you know, behind the wheel, that makes no sense. The brake line back here, again, they did this, made nice tabs here, you know, and then they went back that way, but then they don't put a clip in the frame. I don't know. The pig was leaking, but the pig could have just possibly been, I ripped the silicone off right now, and I'm trying to see if it's gonna puddle back up, but it could have just been when they filled this, it had oil all up on here, so I wiped it all off with a paper towel, and then I noticed these bottom ones didn't have enough threads sticking out, so I tightened those up. And I'm gonna see if it's gonna leak, because no sense in taking it apart if it's not leaking. Waste gear lube, waste time doing that. But yeah, anti-roll, like I was saying, they bolted and welded. So with it being powder coated and this being a 3/8 hole, you can't just drill this to a 1/2 inch hole and then put it on there, because then it'd be real thin. But we all know that 3/8 basic anti-rolls, the metal style right here, they break on box Chevys. Seen it more than a couple times. Like I said, I haven't seen yet a G-body break one. So yeah, I know you guys are probably noticing some other things, but whatever. Let me see this caliper over here. Oh yeah, see, that's in the same. Oh, this one's worse. It's like direct. So here's another thing is the spring when the car is up in the air. Now you guys seen the car on the ground, and look, we could go down one more hole and have one hole underneath, but then I got to tighten the spring up, and then we're gonna be right back. I can get my whole finger in there, so that 1/2 inch there, we're gonna get back here, so then it's not gonna be low enough. I hate it when you see the brackets hanging down past, and it's not right. If you're on the top 3 holes of the bracket, so 1, 2, 3, and you got 2 underneath, you're still giving it a chance down here for this to flex and bend. But yeah, anti-roll off, got the billet one. The billet on me, this arm right here is the billet. It doesn't have the holes in it. It's got a 1/2 inch for the bolt, 1/2 inch links. So this kit has got a 1/2 inch half-inch tabs. I should just pull it out, right? The half-inch hole tab right there. Bam. Cut those off, clean it up. Cut these off, clean that area up. Get that bolted on, get it set up here. Tack it, tack it, tack it, tack it. Pull the link back down, fully weld the outside on both sides. Go around it a little bit, man. But then it's gonna heat up this powder coat. I'll grind it farther so that way I don't bubble it too bad. But then after it's welded on, give it a little bit to cool off. Take the wire brush, scuff it all up, and take some silver paint and touch it up. This car doesn't have torque box bracing except for just this plate back here. This plate back here does not stop this rail from getting twisted up. He told me that they put a 1/4-inch plate in the frame notch. So, I mean, if they did put the 1/4-inch plate in there, you know, you got it, you know, pretty heavy. But this area right here is still, you know, thinner. So this could push up and bust this. Oh, a couple people put it on the lift, whatever lift they had. This is gooey. And this has got brand new pads on it. So yeah, back to what I'm saying here is that the shock is a 12-inch, basically what it goes off, a 12-inch shock, whatever. If you measure it at its shortest, whatever. So if we change it to what I use, which is the C207s, and we already have the other springs coming, spring can stay at 12-inch. So when I put the spring on, I'll have to push that collar down to preload, and then I'll just have a little bit of thread showing down here at ride height. But then this will be able to be up, so it's all evenly pressured on there. Wait, transfer all that back. So I haven't heard back about that because that was the last thing I figured out just after I picked the car up. You know, like I said, if we take this and bring it down, then we're gonna be way down here. So from the back. And then these boxes, I don't know, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 10, 11, was there 11 on this one? Why did they, unless these came like this, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. I've never seen them like that. And the other fat ones that take the full spacers in there, where I use the super drops that take the skinnier set up in there, which whatever. Oh yeah. But in order to get the ass end down, we can't just screw the shock. If you gotta screw the spring down to get your ride height tuck that you want, that's wrong. Because then when the car's going down the road, this and that, the chatter of the spring, when it, you know, I lifted the car up for the first time. This one, same thing. It's not in its fucking seat. And then of course, yeah, you guys notice it's hitting right there. I can adjust that with taking the pinion angle down a little bit, but when it's on the ground, it doesn't do that. But you can see right here, the pinion angle's up. So, yeah, one of those times where I wish I had everything right now. So that way I can just be working and working and working and working. But I'm gonna get the front springs. I'm gonna get the front taken apart, get the other wheel off, get the other wheels off, get the front springs out of it. End up having anti-seize everywhere. Maybe I'll put some gloves on. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's what's going on. All right, y'all. I'll be back with some business. All right, check it out, y'all. Got the spring out. Got the new spring in there. Got all 4 springs the other day. Took out that silver 500. Put the black 550. 10 RP 550. Same spring that you would use on G-bodies, you use on box Chevys. 26s, 28s on box Chevys. 24s, 26s, 28s on G bodies. The longer shank in there for the ball joint. It's acting like it's a little tight, but you can adjust. That's all I was talking about. If you grab your ball joint in the arm and it just moves real easy, you can tighten it more with the lock collar and the inside adjustment piece, which you use this tool. So you guys ordering, if you're gonna change them and you're gonna do them yourself, you gotta have this tool set up, which if you order the kit with the longer ball joint, it's telling you need the tool, you need the tool. So this piece goes over the Zart fitting. So it goes right in here, locks in. Put this in there, you hold this with the 1/2" wrench, you take the bigger nut, which is this piece, that locks in like that. This goes in there, locks in. You hold this 1/2" wrench, whatever, then you turn this, loosening, and it undoes the first collar. Then you take this and the first collar off. I don't know what the hell that noise was. Anyways, then you get this first collar off. Then the second collar comes out with this. You thread it out. Then there's a plastic insert. When I take the other side apart, I'll film that. I know I filmed it before in other cars, but I'll show it on this one, where you change the shank, shaft, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But now I'm gonna have total adjustable alignment to where I want it and get the height where I want it. This, the shaft on the bar up here, I believe they do have the short, they got two, I think they got 2 shims here, 2 shims back there. I can't get that. Yeah, 2 and 2, which they did evenly on both sides. The top of this wheel was out. The height wasn't exactly there yet. So I don't like that they did this. They should have welded the studs in before it went to powder coat, but obviously they didn't know. But this is the old style auger control arm, so this shaft is reversible. So if they do have it where it's out more, I'll turn it to where it's in more, because now I have plenty of adjustment here. The way the shims are, I won't have any shims in the front. All my shims will be in the back, because I moved that upper ball joint back, which gives it the sport steering. I've said it over and over. A lot of people don't believe that. I do it all off of those alignment plates right there that I've had for years. I had a set of aluminum ones, and they never, no, I ordered them and they never showed up, and then it was a big ordeal with Amazon, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I'll just keep using my old ones. But yeah, alignment, bam, they'll take care of that. But the Viking pipe is clean, boom. I cleaned off as much as I could off of that. There was some built up shavings on there, like how this other side is, so I don't know if I put that on there because I haven't taken this side apart yet. But this one you can see the shavings right there. And it's actually digging into that shim from not having the bearing plates in there, thrust bearings. It makes it a pain in the ass to turn them out, period, if you do not use the thrust bearings. Spend the money, use them, and look at this situation. The spring, he wanted to change the black ones, but still it wasn't a 550 or the 500. The more you tighten these up, again, these are not full of big wheel cars. They're not made to have that much pressure. They're not made to be turned up that far. When you turn them up that far, you get into the integrity of the spring, and then after a couple weeks, a lot of you guys have seen this, after a couple weeks of driving this and that, you notice your car is lower all the way around. Lower more in the front, because it's taking the strength out of the spring the higher you turn it up. So 550s with 28s on a box Chevy, yeah, you're gonna turn it up. You're gonna turn it up. You don't want to go to a 650 because the 650 ends up being too stiff, real bouncy. 500s, keep it soft. After a week or so of getting some ride out of it, you might have to adjust it up just a little bit, and it'll be fine. Once they're broke in, they're broke in. But over the years and all the shit, again, first one to do coilovers on big rim cars, I was using too light of springs in the beginning because I was going off of, oh yeah, you only need this for that car. Oh, you only need this. Well, yeah, that should work. Higher rate, more control, And then, like I was saying with adjusting, dude, they had the compression on this thing all the way up and no rebound. So the front end would come up easy as hell, but you couldn't get it to go down. And I think they were doing it because they wanted the front to be stiffer when they were moving around, stuff like that. I don't know. But maybe they didn't know. Maybe they did. Anyways, let me hear it, y'all. Let me hear it. Oh, there's so much pressure. Oh, ain't no pressure on there. That's the other thing with this. The 90 to be here, you would be better off having the 90 here. You want this to come straight out and follow. Then if you come around and come down and then go into here, you know what I'm saying? So why they did it that way, I don't know. Look, this side, they went through the frame. This side, they went through the frame. Which is good. We're just, you know, trying to tuck it away, hide it away, whatever. This side, though, they went under the frame. So, what happened? This is all up in the way of returning. Good thing it's only 6s. You can see the rub there. That's a brand new wheel well. If they get rid of the e-brake, they got rid of the e-brake. So we're gonna put these in. You know what I'll probably end up doing? I'll probably end up cutting this. And then I'll take this piece. Actually, this one's too flared out. But anyway, I need to cut it. It needs to get cut or else it's going to keep running. Or maybe I'll leave it, let him deal with it, because no sense in me cutting that side when this side needs the new one. And then they would have to double, they'd have to come back and cut this side anyway. So this one's not bolted in all the way, but I see why they did it, because I'm pretty sure the battery and all that stuff's in there. There. So this one definitely needs to be cut. I'm pretty sure he changed it. Oh, we'll figure it out. You got a new one for that side, we'll go for a new one for this side. Alright, shocks are not ordered yet for the back. Well, we gotta change those shocks, but I was talking about that already. Yeah. Get that side together, get the side apart, get it together in the front. Again, why they caught that way, I don't know. But yeah, a few people, if the cross brace had been put back farther, and the way the tabs are up there, pinion angle, like we were saying right now, is up, but on the ground, it might go down a little bit. I didn't check it when it was on the ground. But if I have to shorten that, I'll shorten that. Then it would twist the housing this way, which would give more pressure, which would set the height. So we definitely needed that shorter spring, or shorter shock. So we'll get that on there. I'll be able to set it down and figure it out. But again, I have the springs, I don't have the shocks from the back. So we'll have those coming, or something like that. It's that time of year, you know, holiday shit. All right, now let me get to it. I'll be right back. All right. Got that side all together, and the ball joint in there. Got the spring in there. Tightened up the spring a little bit. This side, got it down. Hit myself in the head. Knocked this Zerk fitting out. Used a pole, a piece of pipe, the wrench, anti-seize everywhere. Hit my head on this, hit my hands in there. I had gloves on this time. Boom, it's just slipping and sliding everywhere because of all that damn anti-seize and no thrust bearing. No pressure on. A little bit, but not hurting it. How much it takes to break that. All right, so I have the top bolt off, that off. These are really easy. They didn't have no grease in them. This side, same thing. They got the 2 shims in there. And I do believe the shaft is the same way up there. And twist in and out. Again, 500. QE1 is coming out. Gotta clean out some of that anti-seize. Let's see. Let me do this right in front of you guys. Let me turn this bitch. All right. Back up. Let's see what this is. Let's talk about the compression. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. So they didn't have it all the way up. They had it at 12. See if there's any rebound. Oh, there's a rebound on this one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They put it at 12 and 12. I don't believe there was any rebound on this one. My phone is saying dead. Oh no, that rebound on it. Let me put this collar up out of the way. You guys can see I'm not blue as yet. So right here, okay. Yeah, it was all the way down. All the way down. So 1 up, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. All the way down. So this side went up real easy. Rebound is how easy the vehicle goes up. How easy the shot comes apart. Compression is when the shot goes in. So fine tuning it, you know. All right, I get this ring changed and this ball joint changed. Bolt it back up. Be right back, yo. All right, let me show you what I'm talking about on this ball joint. Here's the new shaft. Here is the lock plate that locks in the ball joint first. Then this lock plate locks that in. But to show you this piece, boom. So that right there, we want to take this off. Plastic metal hat deal. Okay. Take this shaft out. Now we'll take this shaft. There's a metal race in there that's angled. You don't ever have to take that out. But the plastic piece, that's now whatever, go back in. And you have this setup goes back in. This is how you get tension. Don't tighten it up too tight, because when you put a lock collar on this, it tightens it up even more. I'm trying to get this in on my camera. It's a bitch. I mean, this one's being a bitch because I'm homeless. All right, let me see if I can do this. Let's switch hands. Oh, greasy as shit. Towels all the way over here. I know, it's still a mess in here. Like, man, this guy showed us how to wash his hands. Wipe his hands off. No. All right. A little better. So you basically get this down in there. Okay, it stopped right there. Let's see. We want a little bit. Very little movement, so that we'll tighten that up more. Okay. Now we grab the other setup. Get it down in there. And just by doing that, you can see it gets tighter. All right, so now you jam it where you want. So you hold this, and you tighten this, and that will jam so this can't come apart. And that'll put a little bit more tension on it than that just by tightening that together. And that's how you do that. But make sure if you're changing shafts and you're doing it yourself, when you order the kit with the tool set up. All right, y'all, be right back. All right, check it. So, got the front all bolted back up. I'm about to go check the height and this and that. Boom. Twist up the coils a little bit, whatever. But what I was looking at is the upper shafts, because these are the old style, where you can twist the shaft around. So you can see the shaft is in more. That's what we want, because I know we got plenty of alignment, so we want that to be in more, so you can see how it flips. If you flip the shaft around, then the arm would sit out more because of how the center. This one you can see better. Okay, so see that depth? There's a distance in the inside, and a distance to the outside, so that's telling me that shaft is in more, being like that. You flip the other way, it would be less distance there, which would push the ball joint out more. And we want the ball joint to come in. So here's what sucks, is that they did that bolt in there and they put the bolt in backwards. And the bolt, that washer that's on that side, the big washer. That's damn, I can't get to this one. Anyways, so that washer right there kind of sucks, because it's taking up shim space. And then you can see on this side, just the nut. So this is the side that really needed a washer, because this is the side that would most likely flex. And I've seen it. That's why I weld the bolts in the opposite way, or the correct way. So I know it's 1/2 inch 20. That's the threads. So I really need to put, the front can stay, I'll just flip it around and take the shims out of it, so I know I got plenty of threads there. The back, though, the bolt is going to have to be a longer bolt to be able to get that sport steering out of it that I want. So even though the front might end up keeping some shims in it, I need the back to be in more, which is going to pull the wheel back and in. So you can see sitting right now, you can see the rotor is out at the top. So I figured I'm gonna change the shaft around right now, but I don't have to change the shaft around. This is the first time I opened the hood to look at that. But I can go through the wheel well of both sides to get to all that, because obviously the side with the Pro Charger, whatever that is, whatever type of charger that is. Supercharger, man. 8 rib. All right, so yeah, same thing on this side. See, the nuts are on this side, so I know I got plenty of bolts. I'll be able to find a different bolt to put in the bag. I'll turn them around one by one, but I might have to take it up in the air, obviously, and put my stand underneath the lower control arm. Then I'll have to stand on my crate, and hopefully I don't knock my fat ass off there. All right. We get to messing with it. All right. So check it out. Back on it. Put the longer ball joint shafts in there, which I knew from dealing with all this stuff that it didn't need them. So of course it made it worse. I thought I was going to be able to shim it out. As you can see, they're sitting out. That's basically the height in the front, but it looks like it's a bigger gap because the wheel is so far out at the top. What we got going on here is I changed the bolts out. They were coarse thread bolts, and I turned them the other way. Well, I mean, changed them out to the 1/2 inch 20. Put lock washers, put flat washers, took the flat washer they had, put it on the inside. But as you can see, with the shims they had in there, and now the shims I have in there. Oh, it's looking like it's crooked from that angle. So this side has 10 shims in it. With what they had in front and back, I put in the back, and then I put 4 small ones in. So that would be 2 1/8 inch, because they're 4/16, blah, blah. But we have clearance from the upper control arm to the frame. I'm gonna have to put the shorter shafts back in. Oh, I got a mess. Put those back in, because as you can see, that is just too far out. Now this one's turned a little bit, but still. My custom alignments and this and that. Yeah. Pain in the ass. And of course, like I said, that shaft is twisted to where it pulls the ball joint in more. So when the car came in with the shorter shafts, the wheels were out at the top, and they had half the shims that they have back there, what, 3 and 3, what did I say the wheels? 6. So yeah, they had 3 and 3. I think they got a thick one and a thin one, 2 thin ones, 3, whatever. But yeah. So now I gotta take it back up, take the wheels back off, and put the shorter shafts in it, and then I'll have to take some of the shims out of the back because the ball joint shaft is 1 inch longer on the longer ones, obviously 1 inch shorter on the shorter ones. So that 1 inch should bring the top of that wheel in, and the way that I have the shimming, it might just be right there. What a pain in the ass. Complete pain in the ass. Oh. Alright. Let me get this shit changed. You see the condensation in the air in here. See the back there got like a mist. It's real foggy out. But yeah. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, y'all. So, there's that sports steering. All the shimming is in the back side of the upper control arm. So when the wheel turns, it leans the wheel into the ground as it's turning. So that's less turning is more turning. Look at Chargers, Challengers, Vats, Mercedeses, all that. You'll see the wheels when you turn them. They lean. Sports steering gets rid of all the play. Sometimes though the gearboxes will be a little worn out and you can't get rid of it all, but this thing has a new box in it. But I changed the upper ball joints back to the short ones. Let's see if I can unlock this wheel. Okay. They're still a little bit out at the top. It doesn't look like it, but he put the level on there. So let's see. Here's the 2-foot level. Let me wipe it off. From the wheel, so you see the bubble. It's telling you at the top is out. Well, go to the back part of the wheel. You can see the bubble. Boom. So it still needs a little more shimmy, which I just changed the shafts, but that's the shimmy that I got in there now. The shanks, the ball joint shanks. So I could take this shaft up here, flip it around, which would bring the ball joint in more, and then I could cut the shimming down back there. But I put the long bolts in there. I got lock washers and nylon nuts on there, and it's got the big washer on the outside of the frame, so I should be able to tighten the hell out of that. And with the washer being on the inside of the frame right there, it's pretty big, so it should press real nice together to where it won't come loose. Well, this side in the back actually has one more little thin shim one. One thinner shim in the back, so this wheel is actually degreed back, a hair more. But this side's out too at the top, as you can see. I like the height right there. Plenty of ball joint clearance to the frame, or upper control arm clearance, so you can see how much clearance is there to the stop area. You don't run the rubber stop. If you run the rubber bum stop in the upper control arm, and that's what they did. So they had that bum stop in there, and then they had the car up in the air, and they were twisting the spring and twisting the spring and twisting the spring, and it wasn't changing the height of the car because the upper control arm was locked on the frame. They had 2 shorter bolts. So yeah, a lot comes into play with this stuff. Once again, none of this stuff is built for big rims. None of it. Yes, we have the higher rate springs that we want because we want the suspension to travel higher. Yes, we have the narrowed sway bar. So the sway bar is the only thing that's labeled correctly. I know you guys heard me say it over and over, but that's what it is. So this upper control arm, that's why I cut the frame stop that plate on the frame right there, I cut that so I give more clearance to there. So when I cut that, you can run the rubber bump stop up there for travel issues. If you juice it and the front end comes up and stretches up too much, you use that bump stop, which you can cut it down to what you want. So that way, you know, we're not driving on the road and it's not hitting there, you know. But if you're like at the track and you're hooking a little more, the front end stretches up. You see a couple of the cars I've did that have been at the track, the front end goes up real high because I don't have the bump stops in there. Which SS Buff, his Chevelle, the front end. Snook's white Chevy that CJ on 32s has got now. I actually put a bump stop in the left side. I put both bump stops back in it, but I cut the Passion one, something like that. But the 71 Vert, that couple years back, got the MTWs on it, the gold ones. That car was at the track, and you see it in the burnout. See the front end just stretch up real high. That's because I didn't have the bump stops in there. So yeah, the bump stop, the lower bump stops, you take them out of the way so you can adjust the height. Then when you're done, you put them back in. So both of these are out right now. I thought it was on. Oh, that's right. So put these back in. They just tighten up by hand. The top. I don't know what I did with the top ones. Let me see. Let's see if I put the top ones in. This is G-body right here. They're a flat one. So you can use the G-body ones on the box Chevys. I got tons of shit everywhere. I got a mess. Need to organize it. Yeah, you can see it this wheel. You can totally see this one's out a little bit. So what I'll do is, because it's degreed that far, it might be a pinch too far degreed. So I'll just add the shims to the front. So I will put, it sucks, I only got 3 1/8" ones left. I got a whole bunch of the 16ths. I'll take the 16ths, put those in there. So I'll probably put 3 in this side and put 2 in that side. And that'll make up the difference for that one being in the back. So that'll bring the spindle forward and in, which will bring the wheel in. That one will do the same thing, and bring the wheel in and the wheel forward. But yeah, the shocks for the back, now we have that shock problem. They got ordered today, so they should be here. What is today? Today's Monday, the 30th. So, shocks will be here. So I gotta change the sway bar, or the anti-roll on the back. I got the can of paint to touch it up. I got some metallic silver. Fusion 5-in-1, boom. Got that so I can touch up the spots, which is just beyond the anti-roll mounts to the car side, how the link goes up right there. Get that, change the shocks. Pinion angle is, you guys seen that, the pinion angle is up. So, yeah, I'm gonna bring that pinion angle down. And it looks like I'll probably be running the coilover brackets 1 hole under. 1 hole. 1 hole. Out of 5, I'll have 1 under. Because, obviously, when you shorten up the upper control arms, bring it that way, you're twisting the mirror in this way, which is making the shock push the car up more. Because of how they did it. All right, y'all. I'm gonna finish this camber caster alignment, and then I'll be able to do the toe in and toe out. Then I'll put the cotter keys and everything back in the front. Load my grease gun. I'm gonna go up just a pinch more than that because I already know that the springs settle a little bit. So my spring gap right now from lock plate on the bottom of the coilover, so the one that's all the way down the lock plate, I put it all the way down, and in between that, I'm at 2 1/4 with the 550 springs. So I'm gonna go, I'll probably go 2 1/2, and then it might look a little high for right now, which the ass end is gonna go down more than that. So the car will have a little bit of rake to it. The car's still empty, so once all that stuff goes in there too, the ass end, most likely, you know, think about it, all the interior, and then whatever's going on in the trunk will, you know, put weight overall. So front, I'll adjust a little bit more But yeah. It's moving along, moving along. Not too bad out here today. I think it's like 40 degrees outside. That's saying 49. Like, we don't give a shit. Yeah. All right, I'll be back. More adjustments. Bet that up. Yo, yo. Bet it up, bet it up. All right, got the front end all back together. Alignment is done. Everything is greased that I could grease. As you can see, no Zerk fitting there. I don't have none, or I'd put some in. No Zerk fitting there. No Zerk fitting there. No Zerk fitting there. No Zerk fitting here. So it's missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Zerk fittings for grease. Uppers are greased, ball joints are greased, lowers are greased, ball joints are greased. Like I said, alignment is set. Compression and rebound, I put on 5 on compression, 4 on rebound. That should be fine for this car. It's got a nice size tire to it. All right, the back. I got the rear end all squared up. The last pictures are, I don't know if I should have went back over the video, but I showed it on the ground tucking. So the rim lip is right with the quarter lip. It's got plenty of travel right there. I moved the rear end forward because they had it back, so that's going to help with the clearance of the spring to the bracket. But anyways, I moved it forward. That lower control arm over there was way longer than this control arm, so the rear end was a little crooked. But I moved the rear end over and then squared it back up and moved it forward. And now when it's on the ground, it's got probably a 0 pinion angle degree, whatever, while it's on the ground. I moved these down just for now. But anytime you guys see this stuff where these 2 bottom holes don't have the bracket behind them, it's wrong. That puts a lot of pressure right here. Think about from here to here. It's a lot of pressure. And one picture I showed on my Facebook page, I'll coil over, when you look at it from the back on this angle, you could see that the bracket was already bent over. And theirs was only on the 2 holes. So they had these 2 on the very bottom. So this is, you want that shock to be up higher. So the shock I got coming, which hopefully gets here today. Yeah, see how it's not touching. Somebody was saying something about the spring and this and that. Well, this was completely loose up there. So when you would take the carbon air, this would fall. So they were getting as low as they could get it. I think that's why they made a positive pinion. Think about it. When you do a positive pinion, you bring this, which brings this down. So by negative pinion, and that it's just, they had it just wrong. I mean, look at I've never seen those brackets before. I don't know if they made them. They got them off of some other kit. Yes, they're nice and thick, but that bar should have been a little bit farther back. Those tabs should have been the right tabs. It'd been the longer ones, and it would have been there. It's 26s on here with a big tire, so 28s. Then the rear would be back some more. Then all that would come back into play. This side right here, straighten it up some. But still, the shock setup is just too long. This is a QA1 12-inch shock, 12-inch spring. We have the black springs right here, which is the exact same spring, just this is a Viking and this, 12DP 250. So got the brand new black ones going in there. Got the C207 shocks coming. I was hoping to get here today. I just got the anti-roll, the old one, off, which, like I said, this is the 3/8. 3/8 like to break. Let's not build it. They like to break on the box Chevys. We got the new one. We got the Fed in the arm. It's solid. This is a billet. Got the fatter links. The 1/2-inch bolts. Like I was saying, these tabs, I gotta cut these off. So when I cut these off, I'll get in here, cut these off with the cutoff wheel, clean it all up. And then I gotta put these on. So of course I'll put it in the end, put it up there, pack it, and then take it back down and be able to fully weld these in there. The other car, they had this just bolted. They didn't do this. That's a nice booger right there. I don't know what they were thinking. That's like hanging on. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, then I got a can of silver paint. So some metal flake silver. And then I should be able to just touch it up, blend it a little bit with the spray can. And it should shine where I need it to shine. Upper control arms were loose. On the jam nuts, I jammed them up. I gotta shut this door and smell it. Ah! Feels good in here though. It's like 30 degrees outside. In here like 50, 52. Oh yeah, back to this. I'll bolt up the other anti-roll. Gonna use these same outer pieces because this is a lower mount. That's what goes on there. I'm gonna pack some grease, way more grease in there than that. I'll probably put some anti-seize in them. Get that on there. I'll get these shocks off. Leave them together because there's no sense in taking them apart since we're changing both. So due to have, they don't have any miles on them. So due to have these QA1 shocks and QA1 springs for sale, you'll have that 3/8 anti-roll for sale. So this stuff can work on a G-body, that can work on a G-body. There's 3 other axles in the car for this 9-inch, but they're all pretty short. I think it was like 22 inches. Too short for anything I could use. But he's got some stuff for sale. All right, y'all, let me get this anti-roll in here. But yeah, if you look up at the gap up there to the quarter, this side was sticking way out. In the air, let's see, I mean, in the air it looks like this side's got more gap, but on the ground, with the tape measure on the edge of the rim to the outside of the quarter, it's all squared up. On the ground, with the tape measure from the body to the tire, same measurement. I took measurements off the frame to the rear end, boom, boom, boom. 3 different measurements and they all come out the same, so that tells you you're pretty damn square. All right, y'all, let me get back to it. Bet that up. Well, I'm back on it. All right, got the shocks today. This is the C207 Viking, double adjustable. Boom. So see, this is a little bit shorter. Again, take the O-ring, pull it down from the top, put it all the way at the bottom. First time you set the car down, push the car up and down, you'll be able to see how much stroke you're using on the shock. And that'll give you a better idea of adjusting height. All right, this is the new shock setup, new spring. The spring is still a 12, it's a 12 DP, 250. Still a 250, that's the Viking. The other one was QA1. As you can see, this side is up in there. Now, my bolt hole, instead of it hanging over a hole or at the bottom hole, when you hang these brackets over the bottom, you cause it to bend right here, flex, break, nothing wants to clear. So when they set this up, they didn't set it up to the specs of the shock. They just did some eyeballing shit, I don't know. So here's the old. Now, this I had set on these 3 holes, so it had 2 holes hanging over the bottom. You just don't want all this hanging over the bottom, and it makes it weak. But that's where I had to set it in order to get the car to tuck where he wanted it to tuck. They had it bolted on there, the very last hole to the very last hole, and then they had the spring loose. So when you would take the car up, the spring would come out of the cup right there. Pop, 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 pop. You put it down, pop. So it was not set up correctly. Imagine, you're driving down the road. Some people think, oh, well, you got it squished down enough. It's never going to pop up off that. It should never pop up off it. It shouldn't be off it. The right geometry should be applied. They had, which I hate these. This has got the rubber bushing in it. To me, trash. You don't want movement. Everybody's like, oh yeah, you want the rubber because you want a softer hit. Oh, this, that. If the suspension and tire pressure is correct, you're not gonna have a nasty ride, okay? But there is these. We will have these for sale. Mr. Ballin on a budget. Go on his page, YouTube, IG. Pretty sure, like I said, I'll have that. 3/8 anti-roll for sale. That can be used on a G-body all day. But yeah, so then you got this distance. So you snug the spring up. People that were asking or saying something about the thrust bearing, you never have to use a thrust bearing on the rear unless you're trying to adjust the height of the car while it's on the ground, which you still wouldn't want to do, and you don't do that with the front either. But the front, you're dealing with collapsing the spring, car spring. This is on its own setup, so you don't have to have the thrust bearing in the back, and you don't have to put anti-seize from the bottom to the top because you're never going to go that far. A bolt-in setup on G-bodies, box Chevy, stuff like that, you're going to twist the spring up some, but you're going to set it down. Again, you take the O-ring down from the top, and this one's all dry rotted because it's probably the heat from the exhaust or something. You pull it down, set the car. If that O-ring ends up way up there, then you got no travel, then you got to readjust your brackets and all that shit. So, try to explain it over and over and over. I know I've been getting a lot more people paying attention to my channel and my stuff now, but I've been doing it longer than all these other places. And I designed a lot of shit over the years. And you guys can see my work. Obviously they watched my stuff when they did this, and like I said, Mr. Brawl on Budget told me here, watch that up Kustoms page, this and that, boom. How I put the coilover strips on the back of the boxes. Again, I don't know why they cut the bottom of this one out, unless it has something to do with trying to get that pin out for the caliper. I still got to take that out. I still got to put the nut on the back of the 5/8 stud to lock it in there. So I still got to take the caliper off, rotor off, that. But I was getting these shocks in here, letting you guys see the shock setup. The contrast of now, Viking making just the black. Everybody changing their colors anyways. Doesn't matter what color the spring comes. Have your shit powder coat or whatever. But the black fits more with all these builds. I mean, think about it. This was silver. That's silver. So it was all silver. A little bit of black here, blah, blah, blah. But now, you got a black spring. It's all good. It's all good. That's all Viking makes now is black springs. They don't make silver no more. Anti-roll, and then I was able to paint it. The welds I put on there, I blended it up pretty good. Just on the tabs, Couldn't get up in there to make it perfect, but to make that perfect and make the rest look like it looks, yeah. I might catch some hate for that, but whatever. You guys don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't do it. And if you're acting like you can do it and this and that, and you use somebody's job, you use a job as a practice, that's kind of fucked up. That's fucked up. How fucked up is fucked up? That's fucked up. All right, let me get these in here. It was pretty cold out there today. I gotta talk about that heat. I finally put the drain on the furnace, which is just shit I had laying around here. Put a hole saw on the wall, put that tube into that tube, boom, now it goes into there. Before, it was going into a bucket, but then overnight, But that thing set at what, about 38 degrees. And it was on throughout the night. And then it was overflowing that and getting all over the floor, trying to run to the drain. I got that like that because I'm blocking the wind that comes through there. And now the heater's about to turn back on. But the wind comes through these holes in the back of the building, so that's why I got them covered. But all right, y'all, let me get these in there, and then we'll get it set down. Or I'll set it down before I take that wheel off. Or maybe not, I don't know. But I'll get back to it. Bet that up. All right, y'all. Got them coilovers on there. They're on the back. I set it down. I had to preload the anti-roll a little bit on the left side to even out the back of the car. So this side was a little lower. Oh, a lot of you are probably wondering what this dent is from, thinking the quarter's wrinkled from this or that. I guess I might have said it already in this video, but it's all about it being on Dolly's wheel skates, and somebody pushed it in that area and it popped in, and they tried to pop it out and then it popped back in. So, but it's still got to go to the body shop. All the body work is going to get done. But I just wanted to show you it sitting down. Now I have to take it back up, take the left wheel off, take the caliper off, take the motor off, put the nut on the back of the 5/8 stud, and then put it all back together. So we'll see how much of a pain in the ass it's going to be to get the caliper off. Seems how the lower torque box, control arm mount, whatever, looks like it might be in the way of that pin, but I haven't tried it yet, so that's what I'm about to do. Bed it up, and I'll film underneath too how it's all set up. I got to jam the springs, the jam nut. But yeah, it's good. I'll be back. All right, it's done. It is done. Custom alignment on the front springs changed, everything greased. There's a couple of Zerk fittings missing, but they can put in. That's not a problem. If I'd had some, I'd have put it in. I already said that. Back wheels are tight. All the studs are in there with the jam nuts on there. This was the one over here. As you can see, brand new stud, brand new lug nut. I don't know what they did. They lost it. They didn't put it in something. What I just went through getting that off. So I had to loosen these. I cut an Allen key. So I cut this Allen key. I might as well give it to him to fit in between here, but it ended up not working. I loosened it, and then the other one was hitting the control arm. So what I ended up having to do is take these three off. 1, 2, 3, and then the spacer. And then of course, it was just me out here, wheel off, all this taken apart. Then I was trying to hold that up in there, get the spacer in there, and get a bolt started, and then tighten them up. This side I had to use an Allen key, a 3/16 Allen key, or whatever the hell. What the hell did I do with it? Over here. Had to use this angle to get in there, and then I used the ratchet with that one to go through this way to get those two. But studs are on, everything's tight, the car's set. You guys with the coilovers, see the space? This is the bottom piece that goes on first, and it has the little ridge, and that little ridge goes in between these two. So that way when you use the wrenches on here to jam this, they don't get stuck on each other, on the teeth here. So a lot of you guys are still explaining shit to people, and you don't even know what you're talking about. The collar is right there. There's no reason to put anti-seize on the back coilovers. You really don't need thrust bearing in the back, because the back you adjust them free height. It's easy. You put it up on the lift, or you jack it up, put the jack stands underneath the frame, let it hang, and you adjust it. Bolt-in coilover cars that are on an angle, this and that, and you're adjusting, yeah, those you want to have the thrust bearings on. So technically you don't have to have them on these. So everything is on here correct. I don't hide nothing, don't hide numbers, this and that. Boom. 12 DP 250s, Viking number, Viking right there, Viking shock. This is a C207 shock. This is shorter than a 12-inch shock, what comes up to be a 12-inch. You can see how much area down here compared to what I was showing before, that big ass area. There's still one bolt hole underneath there, which is good. But the car is sitting nasty. The spring, when you go up in the air, this spring ain't popped out of place. That's what you want. I pulled the O-ring down. Look, there's the O-ring right there. The O-ring is showing it's got like 3 inches of stroke that way that it could still compress. So that's with pushing the car up and down to get that mark with the O-ring. So the car has plenty of travel both ways. I set the back. I went 5 and 3 compression and rebound. I don't know what his tires are at, but the car is very close to where he can drive the shit out of it. All right, you guys already seen it on the ground. So, but yeah, it's done. I'm about to give them a call and see if they want to come get it tomorrow or Sunday or Monday or whatever. But I burned a lot of wood today in here. Burned a lot of wood. Big ass pile. I'm gonna have to clean that shit out. Kept it at 50 degrees in here. Good shit. But all right, y'all. Landau. Somebody was asking, what year is it? What year is it? Well, it's an 85 and down Landau. Look at the tail lights and the headlights that it had in it. Now they have the Euro clip on the front. I don't know if they're gonna put the Euro clip on the back, composite, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm not sure. He might be, but the car is gonna be. I'm not sure if it's going to interior next or paint next, but who knows? But that's a lot of tire right there, y'all. It's a lot of tire. Like I said, this thing is a. You're probably like, oh my God, it's not even a posi. That's a true track. All right, 305/30 ZR26. I do believe it had an XL right here or something. Well, here, I'll look at this one. Surprised that lined up. And that part's gone too. 116 WXL. 116 WXL. So, if you guys know what that means, it fits on the rim pretty good for being 13 overall. It's by 12, so it's 13 overall. Any wheel is gonna measure 1 inch wider. When I ask you guys to send me a measurement of it, I want you to take the tape measure and go like this and see what it is. Don't tell me what the rim is. If the paperwork says it's a 24 by 9, okay, it's gonna be 10 overall. The paperwork says 24 by 10, it's gonna be 11 overall, and so on and so on. See how I got both the coilovers angled now? Angled in at the top a little bit with moving the rear end over the way they had the top spaced. I already put the shocks in the car. Oh, I gotta put these in the car. And these in the car. Anyways. All right, y'all. Light it up. Bankroll Town. This Landau is done. And I'm outies. Bet that up.